Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tech Informist Podcast, episode 194. This is Kevin.
And Brad.
Yeah, so Brad's back from his wonderful trip to San Francisco and everywhere else that he went. Cupertino, I don't know where all you went.
Kind of all over the San Francisco Bay Area, a little bit of Pacific Coast Highway, i.e. Highway 1.
Yeah.
And, all kind of all over the place.
If you want to see some of the things that he did get a chance to see, you can always go to his Instagram, which is...
Holy_shadows?
Look at that. Look at that. No, you took some really fantastic photos. You guys took... Did you go on like a boat ferry trip or whatever? You saw Alcatraz. You get to visually see it.
Right.
Because tours like book. So
the funny thing is it seems like it's right there, but it's really in reality like a mile and a half away.
Well, it's a long swim.
Yeah. Which is why it's there.
Right.
It just so happened to be on this underwater mountain thing that they put a building on, which is also like one of the safest places to be if in the case of an earthquake. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, we tried getting tickets like a year and some change ahead of time, and they were already gone.
So you guys had planned this that much further ahead. Wow.
Yeah, okay. We've been planning it for a while. It's kind of my wife's MO. Mm-hmm. Like, she finds a place she wants to go, she starts planning it like year plus in advance, and then we wait.
So even that time, she couldn't get tickets?
Nope.
Wow. That is unbelievable. I'm surprised.
Some of it's probably due to them refurbishing some stuff.
Okay.
So I would think that has something to do with how little tickets we had left. But I don't know.
So you got to go to the Google campus, and I know you took a picture with the Android statue.
Yeah. So it's in a weird place. So... I've never, been there before, obviously, so I went there for the first time. Why not? We were only like 15 minutes away after we ate at the In-N-Out Burger, which I finally had for the first time as well. Mm-hmm. And it's actually like right next door to most of the like living quarters for a lot of the employees who, I guess,
they can like ride bikes and stuff back and forth.
They could walk. I mean... But it's also right next door to like a mini Google shopping. Like, oh, you can get a T-shirt, you can get a Frisbee that says Google, you can get a Nest if you wanted to. But it's right next door to that. It's like just this little tiny park kind of area with all the statues, and then there's a bunch of like parking and living quarters for all the employees. It's just in a strange spot. I don't know. It's weird.
It's a millennial thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is a big thing, and I recorded a video presentation this week for a speaker kind of millennial coach here in St. Louis this week, and just learning a little bit more about some of the stuff that he does and the whole millennial and different Gen X and the different generations and kind of why they think the way that they do about other generations and stuff like that. It's kind of interesting.
I think it's interesting that everyone thinks it's the first time a generation's ever messed up, when in reality it's like every single generation before us has thought the same things about each other.
Right.
Like
we all think
always fighting each other.
Yeah. We always think something about the generation above us or the generation below us, no matter which generation we're a part of.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you also got to fulfill kind of like a life goal of getting to visit IGN.
Yeah, that was so... So we took the train in, which was about an hour and a half train ride from San Jose all the way to San Francisco, because you got to figure all the stops.
Right.
It's about an hour and maybe 5 minutes if you drive. Then you got to find parking. We're like, no. It drops us off 2 blocks from IGN. We're going on the train. Let's experience. If we're going to experience,
the area. Let's do it.
Let's do it as if I was working at IGN, right? No. So we get off at the last stop, which is AT&T Park, essentially. Walk 2 blocks up to... Is it 2nd Street? I think it's 2nd Street. Anyway.
I have no idea, so this is all you, man.
And then we went over to Blue Bottle Coffee, which is actually mentioned in a BuzzFeed video of like best places to get espresso if you're an espresso kind of person.
Okay.
Very good coffee, very smooth, and cool atmosphere. right down the street from IGN, which so is one of our beer picks, so I'll talk about later. But get there, security guard's like, oh, wait, why are you here? Who do you know? I'm like, oh, I'm waiting for a friend. He'll be down at noon. He's like, oh, well, in that case, you can go sit over there and wait for a while. I'm like, that's fine. Because I'm sure they get it all the time. Like, oh, we just wanted to visit. Oh, nope, you don't have an appointment. Sorry.
So I guess they've either got security guards for people that are like super angry about a game review they may have given.
Well, there's multiple businesses there.
Okay.
So they share...
in the same building.
Yes. They share a building with multiple businesses. I would venture to say somewhere in the vicinity of 5, maybe more businesses. Okay. Obviously, IGN's the whole top floor now.
Because the building didn't look too big based on the photo that I got to see.
It's a little deep, though.
And you wouldn't expect... You're looking at that picture, you're like, that just looks like a warehouse.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of.
it unless you know what you're looking for, right, exactly. But he finally came down. He's like, I guess you're Brad, because I told him what I'd be wearing, and I was wearing my red shirt with the Nuka-Cola shirt, which is actually what started this whole thing.
Right.
So I sent him a Nuka-Cola, which was kind of a collector's item because they were very hard to get a hold of. I just happened to go out one day and get as many as I could from all the different Targets. And I think you even mentioned, let's stop one more time just to see if we can get one.
And
I
you were able to pick up a couple more.
And that was like the extra one that I got that I didn't know what to do with. And he had mentioned on the show that he was doing at the time, man, I really wish I could have got a hold of one. I'm like, hey, I'll send you one. I've got an extra one. You know, no skin off my back. I didn't want to be that guy that resells it for like $10-$20.
Right.
Like I don't like that culture specifically.
And real quick, for listeners that are new to the podcast, I will try to find which episode that was and put a link or something in the show notes so people can go back and listen to that episode, because it's been a while. It's been at least a year.
Almost know what it is. I'll try to look it up after we're done. Ooh, it's windy out.
Very windy out, yeah.
But so that's kind of what started the whole me talking back and forth with him and kind of getting feedback and what I should do if I'm looking to get into the industry and all these things. And I just happened to just message him on a whim like the week before, like, hey, we're going to San Francisco. Don't know if you're free. Really just like standing outside the building is kind of like awesome enough for me. He's like, oh, no, I'm free for like 2 hours. I'll take you on a personal tour. I'm like, I told Sarah, she's like, hell yes, let's do this.
And who is this that's getting a chance to show you around?
Yeah, so this is Brendan Graper. He's usually a wikis like lead and guide on a lot of stuff. In fact, if you look up wikis on IGN for Super Mario Odyssey, that'll be Brendan Graper.
Nice.
So if you need any help, he's the guy to help you out there. But I also got to meet Miranda Sanchez, which is also one of the other people that was in that specific podcast for Fallout 4.
Okay.
The other gentleman, Jared Petty, no longer works there because he went to go work for one of his dream job things for a video game company.
Okay.
So that's super awesome. But I also got to meet Pear, which is basically the founder of IGN. So we talked a little beer because I know he likes Kolsch.
I think his last name's Schneider.
Yep, Pear Schneider. And that was awesome. Like getting to shake Pear's hand and just chit chat with him. Also, I kind of geeked out like a little fangirl, and as we were walking into the lunchroom, I saw Max Scoville and Brian Altano sitting there just eating their lunch, and I really wanted to run over and be like, hi, how are you? But they're eating their lunch. I'm trying to
cool,
be,
you know?
yeah, trying to be
act
respectful.
like you've been there before.
So I just did the little like hand at the hip like wave thing, and they're like, "What the fuck is this guy?" So I just like turn the corner and leave and go about my business. But later on, so they do the podcast called Beyond, and they always shout Beyond at each other, and there's fans, and that's just kind of like a thing that they do. So as they were walking back to their desk, Max walks by, and then Brian walks by, and as he's getting ready to go past the door, I shout Beyond at him, and he just kept walking. I was like, aw. And then he peeks around the corner and he goes, Beyond. I was like, yes. That was awesome.
Nice. So no Naomi Kyle, no Ryan McCaffrey.
Unfortunately, no. Those would have been really great to meet. I think Naomi was at TwitchCon with her boyfriend because...
That's right. She's a big streamer, and he probably is a big streamer,
So he
too.
used to work for Twitch.
Oh, okay.
He had since left, and now he works at Blizzard.
Well, how
so
about that?
I mean, he's kind of run the
Moving on
gamut,
up, yeah.
of all cool places to work. Ryan, I do not remember if or what he was doing.
He was probably busy working on his Mario Odyssey review and stuff
or
like
something.
that.
Yeah, it's hard to say. He's always got
Because that just dropped yesterday, so...
Yeah, he's always got his fingers in all the pies. But yeah, I mean, some people were out for TwitchCon, and some people were out for a Ubisoft event, and there was just all kinds of other things that were going on.
Always
and we
something.
couldn't get a full tour because, well, it's fall, and like all the games are coming out, and there's games that are not released that we don't even know about necessarily. So they're like, we just don't... They're just playing it cool and safe, and I'm like, hey, I totally respect that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I understand that coming from Microsoft.
There's embargoes and stuff you cannot talk about.
There's
have
things
to pretend there's nothing available.
There's things that I saw as a base level employee that I was not supposed to see a few weeks ago, but
happens.
cat's out of the bag already. But anyway, yeah, those things happen. So, But yeah, that was a very inspiring moment and very awesome. Like, it just one of those things. Like, when we went to Florida and we met Tim Tracker, who does all those videos around the Orlando area, that was one of those like really inspiring and super cool moments to meet that person that you watch and listen to maybe an hour or more per week. So I don't know, super cool to me.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm sure it was pretty an amazing trip.
Yeah, it really inspires me to do better, do more, think about the path that I really want to choose, and as I go forward.
Cool. Sounds like it was definitely fun, so make sure to check out all of Brad's photos and some videos, because you did go to Golden Gate Bridge and get a chance to see that natural wonder, or not really natural, but man-made wonder of the world.
Well, and Mirror Woods, which is more of a natural redwood stuff. All that was awesome. Real quick on before I bore everybody to death.
They've already tuned down now.
Oh, okay. Well, good. I'll just talk to you then. So, real quick, the Golden Gate Bridge, the second time that we saw it, Jeff was actually at the game for 49ers, Jeff, friend of the show. And I'm not much of a football guy. I never have been. I didn't really want to go, especially when tickets are really expensive for something that I'm just kind of about.
And they should be expensive because attendance is way down, especially at their stadium.
So anyway, we went the second time, and I was telling Sarah, like, I was playing Watch Dogs, and there's this one area where you can go, and there's a really cool shot of the city. And not only was I right, but that was second only maybe to New York City, one of the coolest skylines I've ever seen, with the Golden Gate in the background. The only regret is I wish we would have went closer to sunset, because the sun would have been behind us at that point and just lit everything up.
Oh yeah, that would have
so
been really
next
nice.
time when I go, because there will be a next time.
Ooh.
I love San Francisco.
It's already planned.
I love San Francisco probably about as much as New York, and that's saying something. So, whenever next time actually occurs, we are definitely hitting that up. I had like some of the best ramen in my life in Japantown. There's just so much to talk about and say and do and see, and you can't do it in one go.
You saw the Miss Doubtfire house, the Full House house.
Yep.
Yeah.
All the painted ladies, which are always in the Full House, like, end shots as they're panning out or whatever.
Right.
Which most of that, or half of that park that they used to sit in is gone, and it's like a more redesigned park now. So yeah, there's just all kinds of stuff happening. All kinds of Ubers were taken.
You also had your first Uber experience too, didn't you?
Yes, that was Ubers. Any ride sharing thing is kind of awesome.
It's simple,
easy to use. Actually, I don't want to say cheap, but I don't want to say expensive. It's like reasonable. Is we're drive a couple miles in the city, and it would always be like, $10. There you go. So I don't know. I'm super for them. honestly. I always feel like every time I take a taxi, it's really expensive.
Yeah, and not always a good experience.
That, and you can't just summon them on command. You have to like, oh, I don't see one in the area. I guess we're just going to have to open up our phone and use the more convenient source. So
right.
I don't know. It's a big thing. Well, that's a big thing to unpack. We'll talk about ride sharing stuff at some point, I'm sure.
Yes. Well, this week, as we all know, the Pixel 2 XL and the Pixel 2 smartphones have come out, and there's been some issues with both devices. So I guess we'll just start off, since you're a big display guy, we'll start off talking about the Pixel 2 XL screen burn-in issue. And it's not just the screen burn-in issue that's kind of been a problem. It's also like colors are a little bluer.
Not only the screen, but aside from the screen, they are also having issues in like the earpiece with things screeching.
And that's more of the Pixel 2.
Right. So they've both got their issues right now, and it's kind of got me wondering, well, is this a hardware defect or is this a software thing? Is it both? Is it like, why did all this happen? Because as we know, like LG's about to use the same panel on their V30, and I haven't heard a wink of
they're already
anything.
Using it on the V30, and it's kind of a totally different experience. Again, like you said, I haven't heard any burn-in issues with the V30.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird that all of a sudden this is only on the Pixel 2. Like, why is that a thing?
Yeah, and the viewing angle is supposed to be a little bit better on the V30 than the Pixel 2 XL, because if you get off to the side a little bit on the XL, it gets more bluer quicker.
I can't imagine LG was going to put their most premium panel on a competitor's device.
Kind of. Yeah, you would think in a way. But you almost would have thought they'd just use the same source panels, but I guess not. I don't know.
I mean, right now it pains me to say that LG's mobile arm of their company is kind of hemorrhaging money. So who knows how much longer they're making phones, if that ever becomes a thing where they don't. I don't know what I'm going to choose. I might have to just throw the towel in and go iPhone and say forget it.
Yeah, because the weird thing about it, you expect possibly some burn-in over time, not within the first few days, week of having it.
And so most OLED like TVs have like a way to refresh the panel. It takes a little while, but there's a way to do it. You would think that would be kind of built in, or they would have thought about things like that already, but yeah, a few days? What?
So apparently Google is looking to push out software updates that will supposedly help with this. I guess that would be kind of a recalibration kind of thing like you were talking about.
Yeah.
And then they're also talking about that they can solve the noise issue that people with some Pixel 2s are having with the popping and screeching or whatever it is that's coming out of the earpiece.
I mean, I think they're just having growing pains from actually creating hardware of their own and then trying to couple software with that. Microsoft went through the same thing with the Surface line. Apple went through the same thing with the iPhone. You know, it just... Yeah, it's a growing pain.
You're holding it wrong. We all remember Antennagate. You're holding it wrong.
Bendgate.
Yeah, Bendgate, yeah.
So there's all kinds of different things that have happened hardware-wise because you're making a product for the first time. I mean, we all remember the 360's Red Ring of Death. That didn't scare me away from the product. It was disappointing at times. But it also got me super into technology, actually. I fixed my 360 and fixed it like 5 times before the disk drive
finally went out.
Gave out. And it's like, well, at this point, it's probably just cheaper to go get a new one. So
exactly, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in some ways, I have Microsoft to thank for getting me into tech just because my 360 broke.
And now that's where you're at. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. If anybody out there has a Pixel 2 XL or just a Pixel 2, are you noticing any of these issues on your personal devices? Granted, they've only been out just a couple of weeks now.
Are you planning on getting one?
Right.
Or do they even...
Is this going to keep you from wanting to buy one?
Exactly. It's interesting. I was really excited about that Pixel 2, and now it's like, I'm just going to sit on the sidelines and watch the fire happen.
Right. You want to wait. It's kind of like buying a brand new car that's been completely remodeled and redesigned. You want to wait, let other people be the bug
Guinea
testers
pig.
on that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely true on cars. But I don't know. I mean, only time will tell and kind of see what they do with this phone and then the successor to these. So,
I mean, Google is still putting out plenty of ads. My wife, again, she was watching ABC last night and numerous Pixel commercials. Goodness.
yeah, they are going all in on the Pixel. Also, when I was in San Francisco, my God, were there a ton of iPhone 10 like billboards everywhere, just
Really?
everywhere.
Which, again, pre-orders.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, pre-orders went live this morning at noon Pacific time. So
Yeah, and you checked to see how long it would be if you, let's say, were up at this point and decided to, I'll try to get one.
Yeah.
How
So this
long
is
were
about 7 hours after the pre-orders went live, and it doesn't matter which color you want or which storage version you want. It's saying 5 to 6 weeks shipping, which I kind of thought it would be further out.
Yeah, that's kind of the same, in quotations, issue with the Xbox One X, where we're all sold out of the initial pre-order, and I would imagine that it'll be around the same time frame to get the next run of them. I think if you look online, actually, it tells you November 30th for like the second wave. So I would imagine there might be one more wave after the November 30th, right before Christmas, to try to fill out the shelves if people are still looking for them. So I don't know. Just keep an eye out. Like don't give up all hope just because you can't get one before Black Friday or anything.
And the One X arrives on November 7th?
November 7th. If you have a local Microsoft store, you should go check it out on November 6th. They're having huge like parties, possible giveaways in some locations. Yeah, so they'll be doing contests to try to give stuff away on top of, obviously trying to sell off the pre-orders that they got. And, I would say they might have like extra stock, but that's a big might because I don't actually know.
Probably depends on each store's pre-order.
That's true.
Level.
Yeah.
That they might have a few extra units available for purchase.
But then a week from that time, I would check again because those pre-orders will, if they haven't been picked up, they go into the inventory.
General inventory, yeah.
Yep. This is a generally known thing, so I'm not telling you any secrets, really. So essentially, we tell the customer, do the pre-order. If you don't pick it up within a week, it just goes within our, goes in our inventory because it's obviously not going to be spoken for if you're not going to get it like the week of launch.
Yeah, we're not just going to sit around and keep holding it for you for 2 months.
Right. So that's just kind of how that works. So maybe check again in like a week's time, and you might get lucky. So if you're like really you want one, but you didn't get on the early train of getting a pre-order or anything like that, just heads up.
So it's not going to be long, and you're going to be having a new Xbox.
It's going to be my Christmas gift.
Wow. Gonna open it early, though, I hope.
Oh, yeah. I don't wait for that. Come on. For me, getting a Christmas gift early is actually kind of better because then Christmas becomes more about what it's supposed to be about.
Right. Spending time with family, friends, and
then I get to
listening
give
to
my
Christmas
gifts out,
music
and everybody gets all excited.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like that.
Right. Awesome. Some of you may remember so many episodes ago I've mentioned that the Nokia 3310 is coming back. And our initial disappointment was the fact that they weren't planning on bringing it to the United States because the European and other worldwide markets were still going to be able to use it on their 2G networks. Well, sadly, in the United States, AT&T and other carriers, they've already shut down those 2G networks here. But we got some great news earlier this week that Nokia is actually going to bring that 3310 in a 3G version to the United States for $60, and that's going to be available on October the 29th. So
all carriers?
No, it's just going to work on GSM, so T-Mobile, AT&T. So
Nice.
if you were AT&T or T-Mobile and you would like to pick this up for $60, whether it's just going to be a nice little backup device, I don't know. If I don't have to like activate it or something like that, I just want to buy it. I don't know.
I don't see any reason why you couldn't just buy it outright. $60 for a phone.
Right, yeah.
And for those of you who are just don't really quite like smartphones, this might be a way to go.
Yeah. That's kind of the way that I'm looking at it, because we all have family members that kind of begrudgingly moved into a smartphone because that's the majority of what's available. If you walk into a carrier store, that's what they're going to try to sell you because, well, they want to sell you a data plan because it's more money for them. And it obviously doesn't really cost them anything.
Yep.
But $60, 3G, you just want to be able to talk and do the old T9 texting.
Ah, T9.
Yeah.
It brings back memories.
My wife was pretty fast with that T9. She kind of was hesitant on making that move.
Oh, yeah. I was pretty good, too. So,
yeah, it's kind of neat stuff. You get Snake and calendar and calculator and alarms and all sorts of different things on it. 4 colors, a yellow, kind of a reddish orange, kind of a light blue, and then a very dark blue, almost black looking. Looks good. You can actually pre-order it, I think, at Best Buy. You might even be able to, check a T-Mobile or AT&T store. Probably best bet, I'm going to think, is either go to Best Buy or look for it online.
Yeah, definitely. I can't believe we've come full circle on this.
I know. Everything that's old is new again, and I think it's kind of neat. Battery life, you can have standby, and I forget how long it said, but man, the standby on it's like up to a month or something like that.
Yeah, something ridiculous.
You can have a few days talk time on this thing. Again, I still think it's great for people that want to, go out camping or something or hiking on a weekend, and you just want to save your smart device, your iPhone or your really fancy Android device, just to take pictures. Or you just want to go out with your DSLR camera and leave your smartphone in the car.
Kind of go off the grid. Don't worry about what everybody's doing. That's why I like cruises a lot, because you're almost forced to do that.
Unless you want to spend all that money for their Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
No thanks.
I usually spend it for one day just to check up on things at home.
Mm-hmm.
If we do it all, and beyond that, I'm just like, don't even talk to me.
That's right. I'm on vacation to get away. This is why I'm here, is to get away from everything else.
Again, most relaxed I've ever been.
Oh, yeah.
Was
cruises.
Cruise.
I love cruises.
Yeah.
We've both been on. Well, did you go on one this year?
Nope, that's next year.
Next year.
Alaska.
Oh, the Alaska cruise. Oh, God. I cannot wait to see those photos. My God.
Maybe I'll have a G7 by then.
You might have something by then. Goodness gracious. But no, I'm seriously thinking of picking one of these up just to have one. Now, this next story is something that I know is very interesting to you.
No,
I don't know if you like the Volkswagen bus, the classic
minibus
version. Yeah.
So I do and I don't. They're really cool for what they are. Mm-hmm. It's not my style.
Nostalgia purposes.
Yes. In fact, I mean, the Ninja Turtles van is based off of this. So,
true.
Just saying. But it turns out that the VW bus is not only coming back, but it's coming back in style, I'd like to say. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be all electric.
I know.
And it looks so good.
It does.
If I were to get a van, if I had to get a van because I had like 3-4 kids or whatever, that's what I would get, because it looks cool as hell.
It looks very hip and very modern. God, it is really so cool looking.
Yeah, the Buzz concept electric vehicle in 2022 in the United States is, I think, when it's happening. 2022.
Yeah, this should be available for purchase in 2022. Fully electric. The original Volkswagen minibus was only 30 horsepower when it launched back in like 1950. That's unbelievable. This new one, 369 horsepower.
It's that full electric, baby.
This thing's going to fly.
Yeah, you will definitely be able to do any and all things that you want to do with a van.
Yeah.
I mean, most vans now, they're barely scratching 300, let alone over 300, pushing 4.
And I think they're a little, well, not a little, they're a lot bigger. You look at some of these, like the new Chrysler Pacifica, and the thing looks like, to me, it looks like a hearse. I'm sorry. It looks like a hearse. As somebody that has worked for Chrysler in the past and built minivans, I don't like the new. It just looks so big.
Oh, I totally get it.
My God.
Well, and that's kind of the thing with vans. You almost have to buy into the fact that you're getting this giant vehicle. Like, we actually had a van for San Francisco because we thought we had another person coming, and Turns out that wasn't quite the case. So I was driving around a huge Nissan Quest in all places, Silicon Valley, where there's like no parking. I made it work though, because apparently I'm a really good driver.
Well, all that expertise at CarStar.
Right. I mean, I parked cars for a living in a way. So, yeah, I mean, I made it work kind of amazingly, actually. But yeah, it was huge, though. But to make my point, and I feel like if this is just the right size, just the right range and battery power, it looks like it's going to have, enough power to give that horsepower output. I mean, you got to think with electric cars, you get full instant torque. I mean, this might actually be cool, like really cool.
Yeah, depending on what color options they kind of put out there. I know this concept kind of is the yellow version.
Oh, here we go. Nearly 300 miles of estimated range. It's a 111 kilowatt battery pack, so that's bigger than anything Tesla makes right now, currently. So that just shows that they're not exactly as efficient as Tesla right now, and just by looking at this. But that doesn't mean that they couldn't get better as time goes. Because
I think more efficient, better technology.
Yeah, I think Volkswagen actually announced not that long ago that all of their cars will have some form of electric hybrid plug-in, or they will be electric. So like they're essentially going all in. There are a few companies I think I shared on Facebook that are just going all in. And I think somebody had made the comment, well, electric's great and all, but the whole plug situation is like painstaking. And a friend of mine who was actually in our Tesla meetup group actually came in and kind of told us, well, it's not actually that as bad as it as maybe media makes it out to be. And there's actually only like 2 plugs you got to worry about. Especially if you're a Tesla person, you actually have to just worry about the 2 and you're good. Because Tesla has every car comes with the adapters that you might need, because you have your supercharger for Tesla, there's more superchargers out there for Tesla than there are regular chargers for other cars. So, but, yeah, I just, having insight about electric vehicles was great to have from a person who actually has one and uses it on a day-to-day basis. That's why I really like talking to that particular person.
Right, because these are issues that they're dealing with on a regular basis, like you said.
And again, I would not have known that. I don't have an electric car. I would love to have one, but even if I could afford one right now, I would have to live in a different area because our parking lot doesn't have
it's not convenient at all for you right now,
right,
to do something like that. But like Laura Stansel Lewis mentioned in the Tech Informers community, I think this is a great opportunity for like Volkswagen to put solar panels on the roof.
So possibly, and Toyota's already experimented with this a little bit, and it's like one of our other Tech Informist members had said, the solar panels don't quite have the capacity or the efficiency. Even if you were to line the entire roof with them, it's not really going to get you enough.
No, it's not going to get you like a full charge. But I mean, if you're driving around in a primarily sunny environment, we'll just use like Arizona or Las Vegas, for example, and maybe you're parking outside, or you have the choice to, hey, I'm just going to park on the top level of a parking structure. Now you're getting that sun beating down on the car while you're at work. Why wouldn't that be fairly efficient?
Well, and again, I think it just boils down to you couldn't make power fast enough for it to be worth it to put that expensive of a technology into that vehicle.
Probably not while you're driving. You're going to be using more power than you're getting back from the sun while you're driving. But if it's parked somewhere for 8 hours.
Yeah, and I think it's just more of the technology still. It's not super expensive now. It's about on par with most fossil fuel stuff, right? So it's the initial cost that's the kind of expensive part. So I think they're more looking at, if we put solar panels in this vehicle will be more expensive, therefore not as many people will buy it.
I just think it would be a nice option. If somebody wants to drop an extra $20,000 to have that, by all means, make it available for them.
Yeah, I guess
because
that's fair.
over time, more people are going to be able to figure out how to make it a little bit more efficient and affordable.
Yeah, I think once we drive up the efficiency of solar panels, not only will we need less of them, but, I mean, like you said, you could just line a whole roof and charging almost would be a like non-existent thing for most of us. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll have like some kind of wireless charger under the road for all we know in the future, and you don't even need to like plug in anymore.
The friction from your tires or whatever helps generate power. So who knows what they're going to do. That's what is neat about the future. Speaking of the future, this is a very controversial thing that Amazon is getting their hands into, because Amazon seems like every week they're coming out with something new, and this week's example is the Amazon Key in-home delivery and access.
So anything that comes from Amazon, I'm going to be honest, I'm a little like squeamish about, a little like hesitant. I don't quite trust them yet.
I'm
like
in
the same way that like I trust Apple to an extent. I trust Microsoft, obviously.
Google's 50-50.
Google's 50-50, flip a coin, yeah. I don't know. There's just a thing about them that like they just want to be in everything and everywhere, and that kind of worries me.
Right. Because they just started out back in 94 as like a book company. You could buy online books. And now here they are wanting to
take over the world.
This Amazon Key, which for $250 you get to pick a lock, replace your deadbolt or whatever on your house, so people can just, whenever they're there to make a delivery, you get a notification on your phone, hey, the delivery person's here, and then they can just punch in a one-time use code. They've got like 5 minutes from the time that they arrive to use the code and deliver the package right inside your door, and then close it, relock the door, and walk away. I kind of think, especially in situations for people that live in apartment complexes like yourself, you don't want packages just sitting out in front of your door.
Yeah, typically
because you don't probably hear, or you probably don't know many of your neighbors.
Yeah, not really.
And it's not like it's a nice complex, but it's not like one of these really nice gated apartment complexes where there's a lot of respectable people that you would expect to, they're going to respect people's stuff.
Yeah.
So just to deliver like a little package, just, hey, open a door, set the package inside, close it, and leave, instead of it sitting out there taking a chance of getting stolen, because we've all heard of those stories. We've all seen UPS videos, people throwing stuff over the gate and damaging stuff because for whatever reason. Personally, I think this is pretty cool because it's not just for deliveries. They have also partnered with other companies like Mary Maid, house cleaning service, or some other companies that can do whatever, like a dog walking service. Somebody to come over to walk your dogs while you're at work, and that's all they need. They just need that one-time access. They can't get back in your house unless you're expecting them to come over.
Right.
And the kit also comes with a camera. So you have a camera, and then obviously you probably would want to have additional cameras throughout your house to make sure that nobody's stealing stuff. So it would kind of work with your existing security system. Mm-hmm. I think there's some good uses. And again, this is one of those things that it's change. People really aren't big on change.
Yeah.
And people really aren't big on other people being in their house or their place that they live. And I completely understand and respect that.
Yeah. For me, it's not so much the stuff in my house that I would be worried about. I'd be more worried about my cat. Like, what if they open the door and my cat bolts?
Yeah.
Are they responsible for my cat bolting? Or, like, I don't like even putting them in that situation, because, like, my cat is kind of like my kid.
Right.
So I really love my cat, obviously. I'm really attached to my my little fur baby animal. So, yeah.
We're kind of the same situation. We've got one out of our 3 cats that, you leave that door open just a little bit too long, she gonna try to run out, because that's just the little brat that she is. She's not gonna, like, run away. She'll come back after she goes and kills a mouse or something, but she'll come back, but not all pets will, especially dogs.
Right.
Dogs will just up and just run and go.
Yeah.
So that is obviously a big concern, but somebody that doesn't have a pet to worry about
might be okay for them. Again, for me, I just wouldn't even want to be put in that situation. And I can only imagine if you had a dog, especially a bigger dog that's very defensive of your own house and doesn't know that that person's supposed to come in. What if they bite the person? Then who's liable?
Right.
So, I don't know. It's just, you'd have to know your animal enough, I guess, in order to even think about using it.
Whether or not you sign up for this or not. And it's a free service. Once you pay for that stuff, it is still, free for Prime users.
Right.
Now, non-Prime users, you're kind of off on your own. I kind of think it might be kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. Just things to think about.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure Amazon, they're not just going to not think about almost any possibility out there that, what could go wrong. Because, there's a lot of different things that could go wrong. And, they're just going to test this out. And on the website, you can check your eligibility just by popping in your zip code. And it's not available in the zip code where I live at yet. So, you have to have that specific Amazon delivery service. So it's not just UPS or Postal Service or anybody that's not vetted. They're going to have these very stringent background checks, I presume, for people that's going to be able to work with this delivery service.
Mm.
So it's not just your average temp UPS guy that's working for the holiday.
Kicking your package down the way like the beginning of Ace Ventura.
Right, yes. So I kind of think this has potential. Whether or not I would use it or not, I don't know. I think it'd be nice to have if they were delivering a TV or something. But typically with a TV or something, they need to have a signature. With this, they might not need to have a signature, and you don't have to worry about taking time off of work because you're expecting this big package. And
true.
You can just slide your TV in your front door, close the door, and away you go. And you know when they've came, when they've left, and because you can see it all. They're live on the camera. You can see what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Through the service, they'll know who that delivery person was. So it's not like, they can't track the delivery person.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I guess one thing you'd have to worry about is a criminal or something seeing somebody getting ready to make a delivery and putting a gun to their head and letting them in the house or something. That's one of the worst things that I could kind of see.
That just took a turn for the worst.
But I'm sure the stories of these delivery people, what they might eventually walk into. Because, they're supposed to knock and stuff like that. They're supposed to make sure that, verify that nobody's home. If somebody's home, then they're just going to hand it to the person.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel like they don't knock, because I'd be sitting here on the couch, and then I'll look outside and there's a package all of a sudden. I was like, I didn't hear a knock. What the heck?
I know that
I was
happens
home the
with us,
whole
too.
time.
Yeah. I could have got this 3 hours ago.
I could have put that game in my new whatever system like 3 hours ago.
You
Come
get
on.
the text notification package has been delivered. What? I didn't know. Been sitting on the couch the entire time.
Yep, waiting for that knock.
I don't know. Let us know what you think, because I'm really curious to know. It was kind of mixed on the Tech Informers community on Facebook.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I like I said, you're all for it. I'm kind of like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I could definitely see it.
And it could just be a generational thing. I don't know. The older generation, I could think would be like, oh hell no. The younger generation, I would kind of think would be a little more open to it. So I'm kind of surprised we're a little reversed there.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a little age difference here, but that's okay.
I guess the stuff that I already have is more important than the stuff that I'm trying to get.
True.
And also cat, so.
Yeah. And then the pet thing, it is a big thing. You never know. So we'll have to see. But for those of you that have been holding out on this next generation of video games with like the Xbox One S or a PlayStation 4, now I'm not talking like the souped up versions of like the X or the Pro. Kohl's is going to have a really fantastic sale on the Xbox One S and the PlayStation 4 Slim. So they are going to be selling it $189.99 is what the Xbox One S is going to be on sale for.
Well, dang.
And the PS4 Slim is going to be on sale for $199.99. So that's like $100 off each console. If you've been on the fence for an Xbox One S or a PS4 Slim, this Black Friday might be the time, because Kohl's isn't going to be the only one that's going to be offering that price.
True.
Now, as we move further into November, we're going to start seeing a lot more of these Black Friday ads leaking and stuff. That's just how it happens. So you're going to be seeing some big sales. Obviously, you don't have any sale information on what you guys are going to be offering.
We're always the last to know.
You'll probably find out, the week of.
Yeah, well...
You'll find out online before you're told in store, probably.
Exactly. That's usually how it works. And then I inform the rest of the crew, and then we look, and sure enough, there's trainings on it. So, yeah, it sort of works like similar like that. Like, I read stuff on Windows Central. Microsoft Store is having a sale on this item. And it's like, what?
Why didn't I know about that?
Hey, manager person, is this a true thing? We should find out.
Anyway, it definitely looks to be a good season to be buying one. If you've been waiting.
If I were to guess, I would absolutely guess that a 500 gigabyte slim version of the Xbox One, well, we don't make the original, so the S version, it'll definitely be sub 200. Probably no matter where you go.
Probably for the sale, they might knock it down 50 throughout
for the
holiday season.
Exactly. Yeah. And then maybe a couple, bucks more, even so, on Black Friday in certain places. Who knows?
Yeah. So it is going to be a pretty good deal if you have been waiting for that. All right, let's move into app, entertainment, and hardware picks. Somewhat light this week. We did find out what the Xbox games with gold are going to be for November 2017. Would you like to let us know? Because you're the big gamer.
Well, sure. So there is Trackmania for November 1st through the 30th. That's Xbox One title. Then there's Tales from the Borderlands, which is a Telltale game. So not quite the traditional controlling your character kind of game, more the storytelling elements. And I've heard that this is probably one of their best games, minus The Wolf Among Us, which was also a Games for Gold maybe about a year or two ago. I can't even remember anymore. That'll be November 16th through December 15th. Then on the 360, we have Knights, which I believe was
originally a Saturn game.
Yes.
Sega Saturn.
Yes. So that's going to be November 1st through the 15th. That's a 360 title, so it'll be backwards compatible, obviously. And then we have Deadfall, which I'm not super familiar with. Also a 360 title, November 16th through the 30th. There's also like some kind of subtext of like Deadfall Adventures or something like that. Again, never heard of it, but I mean, these are all free games, so I would absolutely recommend Tales from the Borderlands. The others, I'm not sure, because I, never really touched most of these.
Trackmania kind of interests me, just because I like some driving games, and this kind of seems a little different than your Forzas or your Gran Turismos. And
and if you haven't picked up like the Turing Test from this month's grab bag, definitely go do that. It's a very Portal-esque kind of puzzly game. Big fan of those, so if you are too, I would definitely recommend.
Yeah, I typically tend to forget the ones that are like from the 15th through the end of the month.
Those are usually the ones that I have to look forward to because they're the ones I want the most. So as soon as the night of the 15th rolls around, they usually pop up, and I'm like, get it.
Gotta get it. So Trackmania, that is a $40 value. The Tales from the Borderlands, that's a $15 value. The Knights game, that's $10. And Deadfall Adventures, that's a $40 value as well. So that's pretty good.
And
nice range.
Don't know if you guys discussed the original Xbox games are coming to Xbox as of, I think, maybe this past week.
I think we may have mentioned it on a past episode, but yeah, that's
so they're actually coming. They've announced what the games are. I don't have a list in front of me. Yeah, there's a really good one on there. It's called Knights of the Old Republic, or as most people know it, KOTOR. It's a Star Wars game, and it is probably one of the single best games on the original Xbox, and it's in the first batch. So they're available online, so you can play all 3 generations of Xbox games on the One. I mean, there's no better time to get an Xbox One. I can't even stress that enough.
And I wouldn't say it's, remastered, but I've seen some videos of people playing it, and man, it looks so nice.
Well,
now.
you have to figure that original Xbox was meant for like tube TVs. So the fact that they can even polish these up even slightly, it's kind of cool.
The ones that I hope they bring, like the Splinter Cell games, like Chaos Theory and Pandora Tomorrow.
Being as that's a Ubisoft game, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't.
'Cause that would be, man, those Splinter Cell games are still beautiful on the original Xbox. They still look good.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is a thing that I'm very passionate about, like the whole game preservation thing, because there's a lot of instances where you can only play a game in one particular spot, and if you didn't get to play it on the first time around, you'll never get to play that game, i.e. most of Nintendo's stuff, let's say. Wii motion control stuff, the 2 3DS screen stuff, like there's a lot of instances where those games are probably trapped forever on that particular platform, and that's just kind of a shame.
Yeah, because I've been buying more retro systems, older systems, we'll just say. I hate saying retro in a way sometimes, because like when I originally had the Xbox back in 2001, it was really cool, and then I just got another one not too long ago, and I picked up Halo and a couple other games, MechAssault, the 2 Splinter Cell games I kind of mentioned a minute ago. And just this week, I picked up the Halo 2, like limited edition or whatever, the Steelbook version. I was able to get that for $10 with manuals and both discs and stuff. I was like, why not get this instead of just getting the standard Halo 2 version? It was the same price at the game shop that I was at. So I'm like, I'm going to pick this up. And then I've got Luigi's Mansion coming for GameCube and the new Super Mario Brothers that was on the Wii, the red package or whatever. I've got that coming as well. Again, the Amazon warehouse deal I posted in that Tech Informers community. You buy 2 or more games through the Amazon warehouse or whatever, you can get 20% off. On that last order, it saved me almost $10.
Nice.
So the Luigi's Mansion, that's a $25 to $30 game, finding it complete. So that helped me get it down price-wise.
I really hope with the direction that Nintendo's going with the Switch, that when the inevitable whatever next generation Switch is, that they kind of continue with what they're doing, make it more powerful, and your games transfer. Because if they don't transfer and I have to buy Metroid for the 10th time, I'm going to pull my hair out.
Yeah, that is true. They really need to get that aspect out now that Super Mario Odyssey, which that released today as well. Hopefully now they can kind of maybe focus on that. They've released a couple system updates that now they finally caught up with the other platforms that, hey, now you can pre-order your game, download 99% of the game, and then when the game is live on the eShop, it downloads that last percent, and hey, now you can start playing when it's finally available.
Yeah.
That's good with one of the last 2 updates. That is a thing. They also, in the recent update, had made it where you could use the Nintendo Wii multi-adapter, where you could use GameCube controllers, so you could play that on the Switch.
Big must.
But then the recent update took that ability away, so I guess they weren't supposed to unlock that ability just yet. So that is leading a lot of people to think.
That tells me that
Smash Brothers.
some kind of Smash Brothers something's coming.
It's probably coming in 2018.
Yeah. So, all right. Cool.
I know. It's
down
like,
for that.
Oh my God. It's like, wow.
I still have my original GameCube controller and it works just fine.
Oh yeah. Those controllers are tanks.
Yeah.
As long as the rubber on the joysticks don't rub off.
Which I'm usually not super rough with my controllers. They usually last for a while unless somebody decides to kick my controller off the
or
table.
2 on a cord.
Right, buddy?
And in that case, that's when you don't mind if the person leaves the door when the cat runs out. Like, I'm mad at you. Get out of here. So Super Mario Odyssey is now available on the Switch. I picked up my copy this morning.
It's getting very good reviews.
Yes, pretty much 10s across the board.
I wasn't expecting anything less, to be honest.
I know IGN, EGM, and others.
Awesome. I mean, again, they usually take their time on their very beloved properties, such as Zelda and Mario, sometimes Metroid.
Yeah. When they put it out, they typically put out a good game.
Yes, especially when they, again, take their time. So I'm all for this.
And I read and then watched Ryan McCaffrey's IGN review, and he mentioned the fact that in his initial playthrough, he found like 200 and something of the moons.
Out of how many?
There's probably like 800 and something.
Okay, so they're like the Korok seed stuff.
So, yeah. So it's got some replayability. He feels that, it took him like 15 hours, whatever, to play through the game. Mm. But to go back and... Because after you finish the game, then it kind of seems to open up other levels and costumes and different abilities and things. So it's like, you're not just going to play it and put it down and be done with it. You're going to want to go back through and, challenge yourself to do more and get more of the moons.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to digging into it. Hopefully this weekend. We'll have to see how things go. And just real quick, also mentioned Cuphead a while ago. It has sold over 1 million copies on
Cha-ching.
Xbox and PC. $20. I finally went ahead and bought it. Wow. That's all I can say.
It's
just,
so
wow.
gorgeous.
It is.
It doesn't, so it won't get any Xbox One X enhances because, in order to do that, they would have to redraw the entire game. So obviously that's not going to happen.
I mean, it's already beautiful as it is.
Exactly. That's the point I was trying to make is no matter which system you play it on, don't feel like you're being left out. It is gorgeous. Just make sure you're using a 1080p TV and boom.
I don't really think a game with that art style needs the Xbox One X enhancements because it's going for that 1930s animation look.
Yeah,
which
now that you mention it, you could probably play it on a tube TV and it'd still look great.
Which is kind of like a little grainy in a way. It's
imperfections like it's supposed to be. Yeah,
it's beautiful. The audio is fantastic. The loading screen kind of has a little staticky and it sounds like it's on a record. The audio's on a record player. It's like, man, the attention to detail is amazing. The controls are great. Man, the challenge, it is tough. It's very rewarding when you finally, after 20, 25 attempts to beat a level, you finally get that boss knockout or you finally finish that run and gun level. Because, it takes you a few times to, okay, you come up to this and, geez, how do I get past this little thing? And then you finally figure it out. And then you get past that. And then you have to figure out, well, how do I get past this little section? It's just fun. I can't recommend the game enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's definitely worth $20 if you can get it on sale and you don't. Oh, man, I just get it. Just get it.
Right now, I'm kind of in the middle of a few games. I went back to Watch Dogs 2, being as we just went to San Francisco, kind of compare and contrast to what I just saw.
And it makes perfect sense.
And they also have all the new DLC that, dropped like before I even decided to go back. And I had bought it when it was on sale, so I was just kind of waiting for that opportune time. So now I'm kind of half back into that. Been playing a little bit of Destiny, so I will get around to Cuphead. I know I will. It's just a matter of when, so I just haven't quite gotten around to purchasing it yet. Also, super broke from being in one of the most expensive cities in the USA. So
yeah. And there was also a Gears of War 4 update that dropped while you were gone. So
which a lot of Gears of War players are very upset about.
Really?
I'm always kind of...
open-minded?
Yes. I know why they're upset, but... I don't know. They're a toxic bunch that I've mentioned multiple times. They can be very toxic and they can be very mean, shall we say?
Oh,
that's just kind of the group we're dealing with here. But
calling you out, folks.
I'm part of that group. So,
right? I know.
Yeah, I'm calling myself out, I guess. No, I'm actually pretty behaved, I guess. Well, partially because, well, we own Gears of War now, so I mean, it's just a beloved franchise to me. It's a thing. If you don't know about it, don't worry about it. But yeah, we had the last update, the bigger one, and then I think they'll do very small character updates, if they do any from here on out, I would imagine. And all the other stuff's probably going to be just waiting for Gears of War 5.
Stranger Things time. October 27th.
I know.
Again.
They're Mario Odyssey, Stranger Things, iPhone X launch. I mean, it's just, if you're fall into all those three camps, I'm sorry today.
Yeah,
but you're going to have to pick one.
Right. One thing is going to be able to garner all your attention unless you're just somebody that's like, hey, I can play Mario Odyssey, stream some Stranger Things, and
I already got my pre-order in.
Exactly. So, yes, Stranger Things, all 7 episodes now available on Netflix. But something different that Netflix is doing this time around.
This is awesome, by the way.
Well, I think they did this somewhat last year, but it was on YouTube or something, and it just wasn't in the same format. So they're doing a after show called Beyond Stranger Things, and it also is available right now. So after an episode plays, you can
watch the other episode of...
You can watch the after show.
I don't know if Sarah will be up for this, but I'm going to try. Because I personally just will live and breathe that world for probably like the next month. Because the first one, hands down, one of the best shows I've seen in quite some time.
Mm-hmm. So cast, creators will be on to be talking about different things of the show and kind of like, why did we do this and what were your thoughts during it and
exactly
stuff like that.
Yeah, I love getting the behind the scenes stuff because especially being a show that they stream that I don't know if it'll get any kind of like public release ever.
Well, I mean, like House of Cards and some of the other Netflix
they do
only shows have DVD Blu-ray releases.
So maybe I was just unaware of that. So anyhow,
but still, I don't think there's a whole lot of
the extra behind the scenes stuff isn't really something we've seen from Netflix. Like we've seen it from HBO, obviously.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And I mean, The Walking Dead kind of perfected this. You watch The Walking Dead, then you watch The Talking Dead.
Sons of Anarchy even had an after show for a while, the last couple seasons, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense because, again, I feel like The Walking Dead made that more of a popular thing because for a while, Walking Dead was the show to watch, and I would say it's fallen off quite a bit. Not to say it's bad or anything. I'm actually a couple seasons behind myself. I just haven't felt compelled enough to watch it again. I'm sure I will eventually.
So, yeah, with Stranger Things, I'm looking forward to watching Beyond Stranger Things because I'm kind of like you. I want to know what they were thinking and what the cast were like. Oh, I wasn't expecting to do this and all that stuff.
Yeah, if you are at all into 80s nostalgia, a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of fantasy, this is absolutely the show for you. The music is also very synth-wave-esque, that super awesome, the coolest thing come out of the 80s. We'll just say that.
Yeah, really, really cool. Looking forward to hopefully watching some of that later tonight or this weekend. I mean, 7 hours is going to pass fairly quickly.
We'll see.
I know. It's fairly cool. All right, it's time for this week's beer pick of the week.
So, as I mentioned earlier, right down the street, there was a beer place from IGN, and I was like, well, not only have I seen this on a documentary, I don't...
Yeah, we can't remember. I know we've recommended it.
It's on Netflix. It's like Brew Nation or something.
I think that is it. Brew Nation.
They follow a beer company in Colorado, but they also mention beer companies around the U.S. and like what they've been doing to kind of combat all the troubles that they've had to deal with local laws and stuff. This particular one was also mentioned, and it's 21st Amendment Brewery. And it, again, right down the street from IGN, so it was an inevitable, like, thing that I had to go check out. And we sure did. We checked out 21st Amendment Brewery. And I had we did flights, and I don't want to bore you with how much I loved their Oktoberfest, but but I also had the Brew Free or Die IPA. It's a blood orange IPA, and it comes in cans, which I saw in multiple stores already. So if you're in the area-ish, you might be able to find some in cans. But also, it is actually pretty good. My wife actually had a taste of it and kind of liked it.
Oh my.
So yeah, being an IPA and being a beer just in general is kind of mind-blowing that she liked it at all. It's 7% ABV, 70 IBUs, so kind of up there. But usually after 60, they almost never taste like they are. So I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I gave it a solid like 4.25, I believe. It was a very It was a more unique beer, like kind of stood out to me as an IPA versus some of the other like kind of juicy, citrusy ones that I've had in the past. And again, it comes in the cans, so they're very portable, very easy to get a hold of. And I had it on draft, so obviously it was going to be delicious.
Right.
But yeah, I would definitely recommend checking that out, because I don't really tend to recommend a ton of IPAs too often. I guess because I get sick of everyone else recommending IPAs, so I just steer clear from them, because you usually get a recommendation from everyone else, like, you gotta try this IPA, you gotta try this IPA. It's like, there's more than just IPAs, guys.
Right. That was Crafting a Nation.
That's it.
What it's called, the documentary we were referring to. Yeah, I think that is still available on Netflix, and if you get a chance, watch it.
It is fascinating. It also has a lot of our local breweries.
Four Hands, I believe.
Four Hands, Urban Chestnut,
Some
Schlafly. Schlafly sort of paved the way, so of course they were going to be
St.
in
Louis,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's super cool. I would, if you're into beer at all, check it out.
Yep, very, very good. So that pretty much does it for this episode of the Tech Informist. We hope you all enjoyed it. Help us continue with the discussion over at the Tech Informist community on Facebook. Just search for it in the search bar on Facebook. Join the group.
I would say we've been equally active in the group quite a bit.
Yeah, and again, I do want to thank Daryl. He's invited. It's almost, it's getting up there with members. We're knocking on 200. I think it's really cool.
We've got an eclectic group of people in there, and it's awesome to get all of those different perspectives on how tech affects their lives versus our lives.
And I kind of put out a question the other day, what would be some topics you would like to see us go a little bit more in depth on? One member talked about mesh routers, another was password management. So
I am a champion for
Yes.
password management. I may not have the best solutions, but I've got some that I can share that I've used in the past. So yeah, absolutely. 2-factor authentication, absolutely. So yeah.
So there's been a variety of things suggested. So that is kind of how we may start structuring the podcast moving forward, to kind of do a little bit more in depth on some things, because again, one other person, why call yourself the Tech Informist and it's more news, that kind of gets you thinking. It's we're flexible with how we structure this. We want to make a show that is good for what people want to listen to.
Yeah, instead of
be informative.
maybe leading with a top story, maybe we'll lead with the top tip or trick for the week of something that people have been asking. They would like a little information that maybe they have had trouble finding on the internet that we're a little more fluent in. So yeah, absolutely.
Or if there's something that you feel you are kind of a specialist on, whether it's how to set something up or how to fix something, we're always open to how-to tutorials and stuff like that. So if you would like to create a how-to tutorial or something like that, did you think would be beneficial for just people in general, let us know. I know Wesley Palmer, he is probably going to be joining and maybe writing a couple of how-tos and stuff like that. So I still got to get him set up on the account as of the moment that we record this. But yeah, just if anybody would like to do something like that, we're more than open to anybody that wants to help contribute and kind of just help grow things. I think it'd be great. And I've really enjoyed, people asking questions and different things on the Facebook group. It's been really fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to see something different.
Another way to kind of expel all of that tech talk stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of driving my wife nuts.
Yeah. And kind of it helps prompt more things to pop up in my mind that other people are thinking about and kind of wanting to know about, or just know about and want to share with people. So I think it's really great in that aspect. So that's it. Again, the Tech Informist community on Facebook, the Facebook group. I still kind of kick myself for not doing the community
sooner. Oh, I know.
But,
well, it's because, we were enjoying all of our other groups in Facebook so much. It was a natural fit. It inevitably was going to happen. It just, like you said, it's a shame we didn't do it earlier.
And I had spread myself way too thin. So just trying to do way too many different things, and instead of just focusing on a couple and doing those couple as good as can do.
Yeah.
That's really the gist of it. That's it. No excuses. That's it. I've accepted it. I'm ready to move on. So again, join the group, join the discussion. It's fun. We have fun. It's what it's all about.
Yeah.
No politics.
No. That's not fun.
Keep that up. Exactly. So, again, check us out on Twitter, Instagram. Just find at Kevin Harvell on Twitter, at Kevin_Harvell on Instagram, and then Brad is...
At Holy_Shadows, typically, unless they allow just spaces, then Holy Shadows. It just really depends where you're at. But mostly Holy Shadows across the internet.
Pretty much. Yep. So join us. It's fun. And if you got any topics that you'd like to hear us talk about, let us know. You can always email us if you'd like to go old school. Contact at thetechinformist.com. All right. So that does it for episode 194.
Getting close.
Very close. 200 is just a couple weeks away.
Yep.
I know. Wow. All right. Consider yourself informed. We're out.
See ya. We checked for tickets like a year plus in advance. That's going to be great for the sound.
Yeah, it's coming right through, I'm sure. Why did you wait to start?
Oh, you got a little cough, buddy?
Pause for hairball. Don't get it on my pants, man.
You okay, buddy? He was coughing this morning, and, like, I was still kind of asleep, and it sounded like shuffling feet, so I woke up, like, freaked out.
Thinking somebody was in the apartment.
Yeah. And then I realized it was him, like, fucking hell. I'm like, well, I might as well get up and get a drink or something.
Isn't it amazing that cats always want to, like, wake you up?
Oh, my God. They're so good at it, too.
Yeah.
You okay, buddy? You got a little cough?
That last one. Oh, the life of a cat.
Yep.